is additional lecture so that we can actually be able to catch up with what we missed in the previous weeks. Of course, this is chapter 7, and if we look to our schedule from the syllabus, you will find that we should be starting chapter 7 already. This chapter, chapter 7, which is about conceptual data modeling using entities and relationships. So this is chapter 9, week 9 and week 10. Both of them are in this topic, conceptual data modeling using entities and relationships. So both of them on this topic, in which we're going to talk about the high-level conceptual data models and also some sample application for entity relationship diagram that will be discussed. So basically, if I would like to show you the topics for this chapter, which is conceptual design modeling using entities and relationships, we should be talking about basically the entities types, entity sets, attributes and keys, and also the relationship types and relationship sets, and also the most important thing is about weak entities types, and also we should consider some examples using this company database. I'm not going to go over this PowerPoint file because there's some concepts that I need to explain. I summarize them in this slide here. In this slide you will be because it is only 1 hour, so I would like to take the time to explain these concepts using this company database relationship design, which is found in the same chapter 7. This is an example of entity relationship schema diagram for company database, which has a lot of notations. I need to explain them in this time. So now looking at this diagram, it's called an entity relationship diagram. Well, entity relationship diagram, so it is a diagram with entities. These entities can be seen as these 4 entities, which are very clear, like department, employee, project, and dependent. Now there is a lot of different things here you see, which is the shapes. Some of them are rectangles, some of them are diamond, some of them are ovals, some of them are double rectangle like this one. Some of the attributes underlined, some of the attributes are two circles or 2 ovals, some of the attributes are the dotted circle, and some of the attributes are dotted underline, and some of the attributes are just underline. And then you will see, so like 1 n 1 1 1 m n m, all this need to be explained, and this is what I would like to spend time on right now. So the whole thing is called what? It's called entity relationship diagram. Okay, the whole diagram is called entity relationship diagram. It is different from the relational diagram. If you remember the relational diagram, it is a diagram look like a table with entities and the names of these attributes on top, and then there is lines connecting these entities together through primary key, foreign key relationship, as you have done in your quiz, in your midterm exam, and also you have done in the assignment. So this is different from relational diagram. You need to differentiate between relational diagram and entity relationship diagram. Entity relationship diagram looks like this, with these rectangles are the entities, okay, and these ovals are attributes, and these diamonds are relationship names. Yani the relationship between department and employee, they gave it a name. Also, there is two relationship between employee and department. One of them is called works on, and the other one is called manages. And also there is a relationship between department and project, so that the department controls the project. So the name of the relationship is called controls. And then some employees are working on the project. So these employees, the relationship between employee and project entity, the relationship name is called works on. And then employees have dependents. So the relationship between dependents and employee, the relationship name is called dependents of. Yani these dependents are dependent of employee. Maybe their wives or their sons or their daughters, they are dependent of this employee. So there is these diamonds are relationship names. So let us now repeat the notation again. The rectangles that you see, like 1, 2, 3, 4, these rectangles are what? Are entity names, which later will become tables. The ovals, or the like this, they are not circles, they are ovals. We call them ovals or ellipses. These ovals are the attributes for each entity. Yani this employee has a lot of attributes. These are the attributes, the lines going up there, and each one is an attribute, like birth date, social security number, first name, last name, and so on. And the same for department. A department has a location and has a number and has a name, and so on. Every oval like that, it is an attribute name. And these are the main three things. The rectangles, entity names, the diamonds are the relationship names, and the ovals are the attribute names. Relationship names in the diamond, relationship names in the diamond, entity names in a rectangle, and these ovals, they have attribute names. Okay, and these are the lines connecting them. I will come to them one by one and show you these names in kind of more details. But now let me show you these symbols that maybe it is they are listed somewhere here as here. Yes, here. These entity relationship diagrams, naming and convention, in the same chapter, slide number 27, guys. Okay, now if you look at these naming conventions, entity, this is the symbol, a rectangle. You will find that some entities has two rectangles, one and inside another. We call them weak entity. I will explain later what is weak entity means. Okay, and a diamond is a relationship. A double diamond, يعني a diamond inside a diamond, this identifying relationship. Also, I will explain what is identifying relationship means. An oval like that, an attribute name without underline. If it is underline, it is a key attribute. Okay, and then this diamond, which is like a circle inside a circle, or an oval inside an oval, this is means multi-valued attribute. I will explain all what does that mean, a multi-valued attribute. When you see like an oval coming from it, some of these ovals, that means it is composite attribute. You will see this I will go back to this diagram to show you how this one look like. And for example, here you will see that this name here, it has first name, middle name, and last name. Yani three of them coming from this name, and so on. So let me go back to this diagram notation, and then this relationship. I will come later to explain this relationship, but before that, there is some attributes that we have dotted dotted like not complete oval with a dotted. It's called derived attribute. And this is exactly what I wanted to talk about today, which is this. طيب. First, let me start with entities, just entities. The entities you know what an entity which is would become table later. So the entity is simply a name of something that has attributes of anything. It could be a car, it could be student, it could be a computer, it could be an instructor, it could be a course. So, no, it's called entity. So here this employee as an entity type. Now the relationship between the department and employee, it has two types of what of relationship. Let me go to the previous diagram, which is more convenient. This one, yes. طيب. When an entity has underline, what does that mean?
Primary.
This is a primary key. So what about this department? It has two underline. What does that mean?
I think composite.
Composite, thank you. So let us go back to our slide here, and we say composite attribute. Composite key, sorry. Composite key. We call it composite key. So a composite key means what? Means more than one attribute making the what? The primary key. Clear, right? Composite key is more than one attribute making the primary key, as you will see here in this, right? Okay, good. Now a primary key is just a key attribute. A key attribute is one attribute making the primary key. And if I said key attribute, that's simply one attribute making the primary key. I have a lot of these key attributes. If you see here, SSN, and here I have others. I think here I have this one is composite attribute because two of them making the primary key, and this two making the primary key in this example. But a key attribute is only one attribute making the primary key, like the social security number. Okay. Now, what is a composite attribute? There is something different between composite attribute and composite key. Let me explain that. A composite attribute is an attribute that can be divided, an attribute that can be divided into more than one. Like what? A composite attribute is an attribute that can be divided into more than one attribute. More than one attribute. Let me give you an example from this shape. Look at the name here. I can have name, only name. That's good, no problem. But if that name can be divided into more than one attribute, like first name, middle name, and last name, that is said to be composite what? Composite attribute. طيب, what is the difference between composite attribute and composite key? A composite key simply we refer to the fact that we have more than one attribute making the primary key, like these two, number and name, or these two, name and number, and for the project. This is composite key. But the composite attribute, like name. Also, there is another example, which is location. Yani sometimes not location, address. address. You can have an attribute called address, but this address can be divided into what? Let me give you here, insert from my shapes an example. This is an address. It is an attribute, for example. This address can be further divided into many different attributes, right, guys? I can have it as just address, or I can have it as many different attributes like city, state, street number, and so on. For example, the address can be more than one value. These could be like this. Just 1 second. Let me make it like that. Type. This address can be divided into. Can you give me some example of values of the address? Huh? Country, right?
Yes. City.
State.
City. State. Thank you. Street, right? Street number or zip code, and so on. If you have an attribute like address, and if you can compose that, or you can actually break it down into many different attributes, this is called what? This one is called, what is it called? It's called composite what? Composite attribute that can be divided into more than one attribute. And it is better to do that, because if you don't divide it into these attributes, it's going to be difficult for you to search the database later. And for example, if they ask you to search by city, it is very difficult to search the address by city. But in the select statement, you can say ويا city equal London, ويا city equal Washington. خلاص, it will bring all values that they are in London or Washington or so. Or ويا state equal Florida, for example. So it will bring all those values that in Florida. But here in address, because if you fill in the value for address, it's going to be too much. You're going to fill in the city, the country, the zip code, the street address, the flat number, and something like that. So anyone like that is called, anyone that can be divided into further attribute is called what? Is called composite attribute. Like this one, name. Can you give me more example, guys? One more example before I leave this. Actually, how about phone number? Phone. The phone, if I have phone, telephone, can I divide telephone into country code, city code, and phone? How about that? Do you agree?
Yes.
No? City code, يعني city code, for example, your telephone can be divided into 3, right, guys? Country code, city code and your own phone, right? Like for example 96613 and then 3469344. Yani this is the country code, this is city code Jubail, and this is the phone number, something like that. So this is an example of a composite attribute. I hope that you understand what we mean by composite attribute now. طيب, let us move on to the derived attribute. What is a derived attribute? A derived attribute is an attribute that can be calculated from others. Can be calculated or known from other attributes. طيب, like what derived attribute? First, how the derived attribute is shown. إذا كان مثلا this example that we have seen earlier on the what is it? This one is an example of composite attribute. A derived attribute is shown as dotted circle, a circle with a dotted line, like this. Like for example, a number of employees. If I know the department, I automatically know the number of employees. And if you tell me if the department is mechanical engineering, oh, the number of employees in that department are 15. خلاص, I know the number of employees. Derived means can be known or calculated from other attribute. I'll give you a very good example of derived attribute. I have this example. Let me create this this entity, and one of the entity, this entity is called employee, okay, and it has some attributes, like, let me just put 3 of them, and these 3 attributes, let me just copy this here, and this one here, and also this one shows to this. I have 3 attributes for this employee. Type this employee, guys, has name, say has مثلا last name, and date of birth and address. Okay, can you see this one, or very small, guys? Is it clear?
Yes.
Thank you. Now let me show you a very good example of this derived attribute. Let me just make it bigger like that. Date of birth, last name, and address. I'm gonna do one more as a derived. Okay, I hope I find one dotted one here. Okay, there is no dotted one, but here, bear with me 1 second, guys. I'm going to make some dotted attribute. Like that. Let me just cut it. and put it here. Okay, sorry. Yeah. Okay. And here it is. This one I'm gonna call it age. I'm not gonna write on it, guys, because it is a picture. I cannot write inside. Like I can actually write here and copy it, age. So here it is. Let me remove this one and just put this one here, age. Anyone can tell me why I decided that this is actually a derived? A smart student can answer this question. Why this attribute is?
Age,
huh?
You can know the age of the employee by the date of birth.
Thank you so much. If I have date of birth already here, date of birth as an attribute in this of this entity, then age can be said to be a derived attribute. Why derived? Because it can be calculated from date of birth. Yani if I know your date of birth, I will know how old are you. Make sense? So this is called what? Derived attribute. So now a derived attribute can be calculated or known from other attributes. This is called derived attribute. The example here in this diagram is number of employees, because they, for example, they know the department and the department location. For example, if the department is located in Jubail, they know that the number of employees are 15 employees. It is known to the company. In this case, you need to make that a dotted line. طيب, let us move on to multi-valued attribute. What is a multi-valued attribute? A multi-valued attribute, an attribute can have more than one value. An attribute that can have more than one value, multi-valued. A lot of students, they confuse between multi-valued attribute and composite attribute. This one, guys, composite attribute we شرحناها. Attribute that can be divided into more than one attribute, and I gave you the many examples, like telephone, like address, like name. All these can be divided into more than one attribute. Yani we can make more than one attribute. This is composite attribute. Like a multi-valued attribute is different. We're going to talk about the values. For example, I have this entity. Sorry. Let me make this one car. Okay. And then change this to ear, and this one to color, and this one to VIN number. طيب, VIN number means vehicle identification number. Okay, let me give you this example, guys, as what? As an example for an entity. So the car age can be how old is the car can be known from the year of the car. Yani year this car is made. If this car is made in 2010, the age of this car is what? Is 10 years. If it is made in 2015, then the age of this car is 5 years, and so on. But now I'm going to talk about something else. This is derived. Okay, derived, known from other attribute. Yani age is known from the year. But this color can be said to be it is multi-valued. How multi-valued? multi-valued, which is I think I can make it here again like that, and then cut it and put it here instead. Okay, here it is. Why color is multi-valued? Because sometimes, for example, the color of the car is not just one color. يعني it's not just white or black or brown or يعني something that is يعني one value. It is more than one value. يعني مثلا لو كانت سيارتك فيها عدة ألوان، فيها لون أبيض وأحمر وأسود. What are you gonna write in your table? If I ask you what is your car color, are you gonna say black because it is not just black? Are you gonna say white because it is not just white? Are you gonna say red? It is not just red. It is black, white, and red. يعني three different what? Three different colors. So if an attribute can have more than one value, then we say this is what? Multi-valued. Is it clear, guys? Huh?
Yes.
Clear, right?
Yes, it is clear.
طيب أنا أديكم example تاني لمالتي valued. مثلا staff member هنا في الكلية, he is teaching in mechanical engineering مثلا. بعدين في table اسمه qualification or certificates. يعني employee has name, address, nationality, whatever. One of these attributes is certificates or certificate يعني شهادة أكاديمية. But he has 6 different certificates. He has bachelor's degree, he has master's degree, he has PhD degree, he has postgraduate diploma, he has something else, he has like 5. What is he gonna write? He's gonna write like BSc, comma, masters, comma, PhD, comma, whatever. نحن عارفين أنه every single attribute there should be only one single value. You don't have to write a lot of them. يعني write only one value per cell, per one per cell. So that's why you need to change this to many values, like certificate 1, certificate 2, certificate 3. عشان نكتب هنا مثلا BSc وهنا نكتب masters هنا نكتب PhD, like in a table. Same this one, by the way. In this design, color will be designed as color 1, color 2, color 3. يعني if you have one color, you just fill one of them. If you have multiple colors, you fill all of them, like color 1, color 2, color 3. Later in the design, we will see how we can change that. Like in this example is just for you to understand how a multi-valued attribute look like. A multi-valued attribute look like this. طيب, anybody can explain to me how this one mean in this context? Do you see any multi-valued attribute in this diagram? Which one?
Locations.
What does that mean? Does it make sense to you? What does that mean? Can you explain that? How is it now, given my explanation, how locations could be multi-valued?
Maybe location accounting or
يعني لا, location معناها مقر أو مكان.
I know, maybe in the mom.
Yes.
Like that.
Thank you. يعني شنو؟ يعني إيش؟ A department has what?
Has many different locations.
Many locations. Thank you. That's what I wanted to say. Many locations. يعني this department, for example, a department of sales. يعني مثلا شركة التويوتا, they have department called sales. لكن which location? Is it Jubail location or Dammam or Khobar or Jeddah? So it has many locations, many values for this. So in the location, I cannot just enter Jubail because this cell department is located in many different places. So locations can be said to be multi-valued. Now these examples like color, multiple color, certificate, multiple certificates, location, multiple location. This is called what? Multi-valued attribute. Multi-valued attribute. And the multi-valued attribute, according to this diagram here, to this sorry for this in where is it in my PowerPoint file? Earlier I was showing you this from slide number 27. Where is it multi-valued? Here, this one, multi-value attribute. If you downloaded this file from my Blackboard, you will see multi-valued look like this. Now we explained the key attribute. It is one attribute has underline. We explained just one attribute without underline, which is just normal attribute. We explained composite attribute, which is a attribute that can be divided into more than one attribute, like address, like phone number, like name. We explained the derived attribute, which is attribute that can be calculated from other attributes, right? Let us move ahead to these three, which is the relationship, weak entity, and identifying relationship. I'm gonna go back to this diagram. What is it? Slide number 20, number 10. Where is it? Number 10. Yeah. Type. This one. Okay. You see, guys, there is a diamond, and this diamond means what? Means the relationship name, right? Yani, what is the department? Why this department has two relations? Because if you look from this side, an employee work for the department. By the way, you will see like N and 1. N means many. 1 means 1. This is the type of relationship, because we have three different types of relationship, guys. These three different types of relationship is simply a relationship has 1 to 1, or 1 to many, or many to many. Let me just write it here. 1 to 1, or 1 to many, or many to many. We call it like that. Many to many. By the way, this is when it is many to many. Here, 1 to n, many, 1 many to many. Okay. What is 1 to 1 means? 1 to 1 means one occurrence or one value from one table is relating to only one from the other entity. Yani the entities are relating from 1 to 1. Like what? Like a driver and a car. Yani if you have these guys, these two entities like that, and you have a driver and a car are as entities, this driver, let me write the name of the entity inside, driver, and this is a car. In this case, if the relationship between them is said to be 1 to 1, in such that the relationship 1 to 1 means one driver drives one car, and you cannot drive more than one car. So this relation is said to be 1 to 1. Okay, so this is the first type of relationship. The second type of relationship is 1 to many. Like, this is most common, by the way. Most common in the sense that most relationships are like that. يعني خليني أعمل copy this one and paste and give you another example for 1 to many. You can give me examples as well when I finish giving you the first example. Like student and course. A student can take many courses. Okay, a student can take many courses, and this is called many. So if this is one-to-one, the first one-to-one, this is one-to-many. I prefer to actually do it in Paint because I can draw here. So this is called one-to-one, one, one. Let me write here. One-to-one. One car, one driver. This is an example. This is one student, too many courses. This is one to many. If the relationship is many to many, like for example, teacher and student, many to many. That means a teacher teaches many students,
around section.
or teacher many section. Yeah, teacher and section is not a teacher and course. What does that mean? Teacher and course. A teacher and course means a teacher and course simply means a teacher teaches many courses, and a course can be taught by many teachers. Yani this one can be said as many to many, many to many, M to N. يعني ما نكتب M مرتين, M and then N. This many to many. طيب. Now again, how the relationship is read. You need to read the relationship like this. One driver drives one car. يعني a car is driven by one driver. One to many, which is most common. By the way, this is most common. يعني منتشرة أكثر واحدة. A student can take many courses. But if the course can be taken by many students, it will be changed to what? To many as well. طيب. What is the relationship between a teacher and a student? A teacher teaches many students, and a student can be taught by many teachers. So this is also many to many. Lakin, for example, the relationship between a patient and a doctor. A doctor treat the patient one to many. Yani that patient is cured or checked by only one doctor. So one to many. Or a patient and the doctor. Or how about this one? Department and what? And employee. This is a common relationship. Department, one department have many employees. This is debt, department, and employees. This is an example of what? Of a one to many relationship. So I can write them like that. One department works in one department has many employees in it. So this is one to many. If you would like to read it from this side, you can read this side. Many employees work in one department. A department has many employees. So this is how these lines that you see here in the PowerPoint file, like type. If you look at these relations, you will see that one department has many employees. You will see put the one here and the N here. One department has many employees. But look at the other relationship, which is manages. Yani why the relationship is one to one? Because a department has only one manager. Yani a department manages, an employee manages one department. A department has only one manager, only one to one, not many. Yani not many managers. And the relationship is called manages. This one relationship is called works for. Yani many employees working for one department. Also, if you read the relationship controls, between department and project, you can read it like this: one department controls many projects. One department controls many projects, and many projects controlled by one department. طيب. Now we know these numbers what stand for, and these numbers we call them cardinality, guys. The cardinality is a topic that need to be explained in a lecture that I will do tomorrow, inshallah, which is I would like to explain more about this cardinalities by looking into some symbols like the carrot or the carrot's foot, like this one, like 0 to more or 1 to more or 0 to 1. But this need to be explained later in more details. Now I would like you to focus on either 1 to many or 1 to 1 or many to many. But tomorrow, inshallah, I will explain this in more details. Now I have to finish explaining the rest of these concepts. When you see this double rectangle, this is a weak entity. What is a weak entity? A weak entity is an entity that its existence is based on another entity. Weak entity, this one, its existence depend on another entity. What does that mean? Its existence depends on another entity. يعني وجوده بيعتمد على وجود entity ثانية. مثلا dependent. What is dependent? Dependent هو تابع، يعني ابن or ابنة or زوجة تابعين للemployees. If there is no employee, there is no تابع. يعني the relationship between the employee and the dependent, the relationship name is called dependent of. يعني this dependent of this employee. If there is no employee, there is no dependent. يعني for example, look at me. For example, here I have, for example, my family, but they are an entity, يعني dependent. But if I am not here, what on earth are they doing here? They are not doing. They cannot come here to this country if I am not here, right? So their existence depends on another entity. This dependent, if it is a weak entity, it will be made like a double rectangle, like this, a rectangle inside a rectangle. And they have their own attributes. They have their sex, which is the gender, the birthday, the relationship. What is the relationship to the dependent, to the employee? For example, here the values for the relationship could be a son, or could be a daughter, or could be a wife, or could be yani maid, servant, whoever. That depends on me. You understand what I'm saying, guys? So this is depend on the employee. If there is a relationship between an entity and another entity, and this entity is weak, the relationship itself is called identifying relationship. So the identifying relationship exists between an attribute and between an entity and another weak entity. So this identifying relationship exists between. I have to remove this one, guys, to write in the place. Identifying relationship exists between an entity and a weak entity. And if there is a relationship that connects between an entity and weak like between this entity and this weak entity, this we call identifying relationship. Okay. Now we say that a weak entity depends on another entity. Guys, do you have examples of weak entities in the real world? I can give you example. How about this? I hope you understand this example. Okay, whatever. This relationship called has. Yeah, I can call it like that. Can somebody explain this one? And why apartment is weak?
If the building does not exist, the apartment or the apartment rely on the building.
صحيح. مثلا البيلدينج فيه 6 apartments. This apartment, if there is no building, there is no apartment, right? So the apartment is an entity, but it depends on the building. If there is no building, there is no apartment. So because the building has many apartments, the relationship between them is one to many. Yani one building has many apartments. I can write that here, like this one here, one here, and n here. But this is not يعني a big deal. The deal is this one we call it weak entity because it depends. Its existence depends on the building. I hope you understand this. Weak relationship itself is called identifying relationship, which is the same thing. This double diamond, يعني identifying relationship simply means the weak relationship in which it connects between a normal relationship and another a normal entity and another weak entity. So the weak relationship is the same as identifying relationship. So instead of that, let me just make it identifying relationship, which is identifying relationship simply links between an entity and its weak entity. Okay, clear guys? So this is what identifying relationship means. attribute of a relation طبعا دي الاتريبيوت العادية مثل هذه the other attribute like birth name, like sex, salary. This without underline is called attribute of a relation. So there is no problem with that. Now identifying entity, we have, let me cut this one and put it after this one, because identifying entity is relating to identifying relationship. Identifying entity simply means the strong entity. What is the strong entity here in this diagram? Quickly guys, I have only 2 minutes and then I'm gonna leave. If the dependent is a weak entity, what is a strong entity?
Employee.
Here, what is the weak entity and what is a strong entity?
Strong is building and weak apartment.
Apartment is a weak, صح. هنا dependent is weak entity and employee is a strong entity. But we don't call it that name. We don't call it a strong entity. We call it identifying entity in database design. Identifying entity. Identifying entity is the strong entity such that it is the entity that the entity that connects to the weak one. I hope you understand what I mean by that. Okay, it is the entity. The identifying entity is the entity that links or connects to the weak one, to the weak entity. Like here, this is called identifying entity, and this is weak entity, and this is the identifying relationship. There is only one thing that I need to explain, because you know what entity means. Entity is just one of these four entities. But now, what is a recursive relationship? A recursive relationship is the relationship that links between a table and itself. A relation that connects an entity to itself, an entity to itself. I have given you example before, like an attribute, like prerequisite, and a course. This is called a recursive relationship. يعني relationship, يعني a course itself, a prerequisite itself is a course in the same table, course table. يعني for example, this is the recursive relationship, supervision. An employee supervise other employee. يعني one supervisor supervise many employees. So the relationship between an employee and another employee, there is a relationship between an employee and another employee, which is supervision. يعني اسم العلاقة supervision. But we have to have this line coming here and going back again. One employee supervises many. That's why the relationship is one to many, such that one supervisor supervises many of these employees. So the relationship name is called supervision, and this relationship name is called recursive relationship, in such that it goes back to the same entity. I have shown you in one of these examples before in my previous lecture. I showed you this. It's called the schema, the student schema, which is this one here. Just one. Let me show you an example on this. I think the other picture, this one, if you remember this picture from previous class, guys, in which I said this is the relationship that connects the course number to the prerequisite, such that this course number here relates to this prerequisite. يعني a prerequisite itself is a course number. So there is a recursive relationship. A recursive relationship is when you have an entity that has a relationship to itself. In this case, this course has a relationship with itself, such that the course number is also a prerequisite. Yani you cannot take a course without taking the prerequisite of that course. In this example, the relationship between employee and another employee, such that an employee supervises another employee in the same table. This is called recursive relationship. Anyway, now I finished these concepts. I'm gonna actually save this one and put it in the blackboard, but if you can have a phone, you'd like to take a picture of this one, you can take it. I'm done with the class. Do you have any questions for me?
نو دكتور اتس كلير.
خلاص طيب بكره نتلاقى بكره. اوكي جايز.
ان شاء الله.
tomorrow we'll have a class دكتور right?
Yeah, we have a class normal يعني. This is an extra class.
Yeah, I understand that. But I ask you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Tomorrow.
tomorrow I
in
think
شاء الله.
after tomorrow دكتور.
Is it tomorrow or after tomorrow?
خلاص هي
tomorrow دكتور. Tuesday
Tomorrow إن شاء الله.
tomorrow
Yes.
12
Yes. بس
Yeah,
إن شاء الله I'm
tomorrow.
gonna make it a small class for you. I'm gonna make 2 hours only.
Thank you دكتور.
good. الحمد لله.
يلا مع
Thank you.
السلامة. السلام عليكم. I have to go and run and catch this Maghrib prayer.
Doctor,
Yes.
Doctor,
Yes. Yes.
because for the homework, how can I submit it again?
Are you Nawaf?
Because the link is not.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Are you Nawaf? Hello. Are you Nawaf?
Yes, Doctor.
طيب خليني أمشي. I make some adjustment to the link so that it can you can submit it. Okay, just 1 second. طيب أنا I will make it today is what 2nd of خلاص لحد الساعة 12 بالليل. اوكي.
Okay.
No, just 1 second. Just let me just change something here. The due date, I think I have to make this due date here on the 2nd of that, and then I give you more chance to submit it. Try. If it doesn't work, shoot me a WhatsApp message. Okay.
Doctor.
Okay, Doctor.
Yes.
Doctor.
Yes, Ibrahim.
Did you get my assignment?
Yes, I get it. Yes, you submit it in the other course. You
I
should
already
submit it
did.
in brief. Next time, please submit your work in your course, in your section. You are here only, يعني because we all students are in the يعني in one class. But if you have anything to submit it in your section.
Okay, Doctor. No problem.
From now on يعني. Okay.
Okay.
يلا مع السلامة.
مع